Well, hello there, VAC fans, and I welcome Thomas once again to the VAC Lab, Basement Lab, for Mini Meet number 20. Absolutely amazing. So we made it through 20 of these. I think if we have it right, we did our first Mini Meet in May. I think it was end of May of 2018. So it's been about 2 years. Incredible. So we hope that the lockdown, if you are still involved in one, we are not. West Virginia and Ohio, it's not that way anymore. But we hope that you're safe and well. And we have a couple of machines that we're going to be testing, and one machine that he's going to be leaving with me to do extensive testing. And for once, it is a brand new machine. So it's not something that's 5 or 10 or 15 years old, but one machine we will be testing is older. Anything you wanted to add?
Pretty self-explanatory. The only thing I can say is just stay tuned for the newer vacuum that he'll be testing. Some of you certain types of fans out there will be rather pleased. You'll like what it is.
It's not a Eureka. I don't have any Eurekas.
I don't even think they make Eureka. Well, they do, but like those are.
I know some people said, "Oh, bummer, VacLab doesn't have any Eurekas." I don't really come across Eurekas.
They're really more scarce, I think. Like Walmart don't really sell those anymore. They're mainly Hoovers, Bissells, Dysons, Dirt Devil. That's all I see at Walmart. I mean, I think the only place I've seen Eureka was like Big Lots or.
Yeah, it's kind of rare. If I come across one that I like, I might pick something like that up. But for those Eureka fans out there, it's just they're very few and far between.
Yeah, the older style Hoover in Eureka was kind of the same, like your old Golden Tone Hoover.
Oh yeah, back in like late '60s, early '70s, sometimes it was hard to tell apart the direct air, like Eureka direct air Hoovers. I mean, obviously the color and the styling and the name Hoover and Eureka certainly, but very similar type of machines, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any Eureka, not at this point in time.
Eureka was even involved with Rainbow for a short period of time. The Rainbow D2 that used the very first power nozzle was using Eureka's power nozzle until they came out with their own, which was the PM1, as we all know it.
Yeah. All right, so let's go and see what Thomas brought this time around from West Virginia. I mean West Virginia. Yeah, you know what I mean.
WV.
Done, sure. West Virginia. I'd never heard that one before. So, can anybody guess what the brand new machine was that Thomas brought up? It's that one over to the left.
No, it's not. It's the blue one right there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that purpley thingy. That's right. Another Bissell. This time a clean view. He bought it brand new, and the date code on the back does say 2019. So he's going to leave that one here, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of tests with it. Whole house carpet cleaning and a bunch of other stuff. But for today's mini meet, we're going to do some airflow and suction tests on this Hoover Elite that, was it back in October?
Yeah, it was October. Yeah. We did a complete refurb on it, and it was actually very easy to do. Like, we was done with it in just like an hour.
So, yeah, we messed around with bearings of the motor, and did we also put in a new brush roll? You had already done that.
The brush roll was already put in by me.
Okay, all right. So I already had a new brush roll, so it's got a good belt in it, and we have a Bissell style 7 bag, completely brand new, not used for any dirt whatsoever. That's what's in there. So we have 2 airflow tests and 1 suction test to actually do with this guy right here.
Bill was always interested too in the kind of dirt that I pick up down in my neck of the woods, so I brought him a complete dirty bag out of this machine that I filled up for him. So I'm sure he'll be thumbing through that, tearing it up, and he'll be inspecting like he does. He fiddles with dirt like piece by piece.
Well, funny thing is, it smells like candles. So
My mom's got she's got a Scentsy addiction, if you all don't know what that is. It's like she loves tarts, candles, and smell goods, and my house reeks of smell good stuff.
Smelly good stuff. All right. So we're going to start out here. You can see on one part of your screen we're at 122.6. So let's crank this puppy up and check out the flow and also the power usage at the same time. It's an interesting power switch. It kind of slides up and down. So we are at 102 CFM with a clean Bissell Style 7 HEPA bag in there.
Yes, sir.
And let's take it out.
I remember when we tested the, I don't think it was on camera, we tested the hose CFM and suction. It was, of course, these machines at the hose end, they're not going to have a whole lot of airflow and suction because it's for light cleaning.
Yeah.
So that's actually impressive. I was thinking it would only have like 80 something, but no, 100.
Not bad. And we were pulling 6.6 something or other amps. It'll pull a little bit more when it's on the carpet. It says uses only 7.2 amps. They would expect you to actually use it on the carpet, I would imagine. So that's not that far off there. So let me go ahead and put it back on max, reset that, and here we go again with no bag. Brush roll is obviously spinning the whole time. There's no way to turn it off. Okay, so I think, wasn't that exactly the same, 101.5? Yeah. So
maybe try taking the cover off and see if it makes it go up a little bit.
Well, I guess I could do that, but the big point I wanted to make was putting in a clean HEPA bag. In this case, even though this bag is a little bit shorter than what fits in the bottom here, I mean, obviously it's not a Hoover style bag. It really would need to be just a little bit longer. But this thing doesn't really restrict airflow all that much. I mean, that's why I do these kind of tests. So whether the bag is in or the bag is out, the airflow is the same. And I imagine as it fills up, you'll lose a little bit, but that's pretty interesting. Usually, when I put a bag in, I get just a tiny bit of airflow loss. Like say in a Kirby, I lose like maybe 1 or 2 CFM. And this one, I didn't lose anything, despite the bag being a little bit on the short side. Wow, that's something. All right, turn your headphones down. Let's see what this direct air Hoover pulls on the vacuum gauge. Okay, I'll have to review the footage, but I think I saw a peak of about 19 inches. So now let's move on to all things Bissell. Just when you think you're ready to be done with the Hoover, Thomas says, "Can you particle test the bag?" And I said, "Well, you know, it's going to take a little while for me to set all that up with using the exhaust output from the G5 and all those cardboard boxes." He says, "No, just do something quick." So here is my quick setup. Got my airflow box here to raise this up to the proper height. Got the bag just sitting there, and believe it or not, the rubber ring, the connection there is so tight it won't blow off, or at least that's what we think. So, all right, turn your headphones down and let's see what this does. Here, go ahead and crank her up, Thomas.
Allow me to do the honors. Here you go.
Yep. Alrighty, since your ears are now been blown out, so this wasn't that bad. So 10 and 2.5 microns, 0 all the way along, and the 0.3 less than 1,000. We'll call it definitely less than 1,000. And I typically like to go and put something in this category with this type of test in, say, the H10 category. So I'm not going to give it like an H11, vac lab seal of particle filtration quality, but I think we could say that essentially this is about an H10 level. I mean, which is fine, especially considering the machines that this particular bag goes in. Something like this will be just fine.
And you know something, if you wanted to be on a budget or you can't find these HEPA bags, because I had to buy them online, the Febreze Style 7 bags, they're only like just a little bit more particle wise. I think they were like 1,500-ish.
Yeah, paper, and they did a great job too.
So that would be like if, you
had to run to Walmart and get some real quick. You could
like,
find them.
You need a vacuum, like you really, like I need to vacuum my house. I got company coming over. I have no vacuum bags. The Febreze bags you get at Walmart, perfect. You'll be just fine.
Yeah, so these clean fairies right here, this is just fine. I can tell that it's a thinner material. I don't think it has as many layers as what I'm used to in a real H11 bag. But if I were to call this H10, that's fine. And the particle count is just fine. You're in good shape if this is all you can get and you want to upgrade from a paper bag. Okay, so that's clean and be ready for, well, a whole lot of tests. Not just necessarily airflow and suction, but I'm going to do a bunch of tests with this. So we have not one, not two, but 3 vacuums that Thomas is going to need to run on the birdseed carpet. It will eventually get completely thrown out. So he's never run these 2 Bissells. And of course, obviously, he runs his Hoover because it's his, but he hasn't run it on this shag birdseed carpet. And we ended up putting it up to, he runs it on low at home, and right now he's got it set, I think, in the middle position. So the brush roll really digs.
I've used these machines in the past, like I know what they do, but Bill insists that I touch them, so we gotta make things fun at the back lab.
Sure.
So here we go. Medium position, and let's see what it does. I can hear it picking up birdseed.
Yeah, I bet. Picks it up.
I actually love this machine. I will take this direct air over that any day. I like Kirby's, but
this is lighter, isn't it?
It's a lot lighter, easier to put, even without a tech drive. Like, it's not as easy to push with a Kirby with a tech drive, but it's not that bad. I mean, I can definitely lift it a lot better.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah, these older, you can't break these older
direct air machine, sure.
Direct air.
Yeah, the 90s monsters.
Yeah.
Fairly inexpensive, lasts forever. Well, obviously this one's a what?
A 1997
So,
model.
23 years. And you found it where?
I found it at a Goodwill in the garbage. They were throwing it out, and it had no cord. It had no attachments. The only thing it had was the hose. I took it home. The brush roll, and it was junked. Brought it home, dusted it, put a new brush roll in. I found attachments for it, put a cord on it. Me and Bill did a refurb on up here last October. It's been I actually very well enjoy using it at my house.
All right, fantastic. So now, let's see how he likes my 2 trash fine, my curb fine Bissells.
Get this hose. Like, it's perfect in there. Like, just.
Now this is the new hose that Thomas brought that is in much better shape, and it's a different hose. It's a stretchy hose rather than the plastic one. So yeah, this one has some real length to it.
Why on earth they had those older hoses like they did? Who wants a hose that's can't stretch?
Yeah, like in my Tempo wide pad,
Yeah.
It doesn't really stretch.
Like it's like.
Yeah, to pull the machine right over on top of you.
All right, let's test this bad boy. Yeah, it feels just like any of the ones I used in the past. It's about the same.
Now I have that set on medium. Maybe that's too low, or is that where you like it?
About right there is a lot more like it. I like to dig a little bit with mine. Bill is a height adjustment, precise person. I like to stick mine a little bit lower.
Well, it certainly makes good lines. Of course, you put it down. Yeah, you put it down one lower. So yeah, it's gonna dig.
Just for giggles and laughs. Oh, it's really digging that.
Yeah. I'm glad I got a new belt in that thing.
The dust carpet buddy is just going.
Well, yeah, I probably dug up a lot of carpet too, running it down that low.
Yeah.
All right, so what'd you think about that, dude?
It's these Bissells aren't really bad vacuums. Like, you know, if you're on a budget and you know you want a bagless, this ain't a bad choice. It's just they're not going to filter well, and they're not going to pick up like tons and tons of dirt, and you do have to maintain them. When those filters stop up, this airflow goes kaput. You gotta take care of stuff.
All right, last Bissell. Yeah.
They're not a bad vacuum. Well, I'll tell you this, they're indestructible.
They certainly seem to be.
They're very indestructible. I've seen people throw these away. There was nothing wrong with them. All they needed was just a filter change or a clean out, and that's about it. Bill reversed both of these, so yeah.
Okay, next.
All they needed was clean. This one's got a much longer cord. If I'm not mistaken, this little Power Force, when it was on sale, it was probably like $50.
That cheap?
I would say about $50 maybe. This one right here.
I think that one was that cheap?
Yeah.
When it was on sale?
60, maybe 60, maybe 50. This one right here was probably more like 79.
Ooh, stepping up in the world.
Maybe like 79, 89.
Now this is kind of weird. First of all, I kind of wonder if this is really, you know, like the correct turbo brush as far as color. But what's so interesting is the way that clicks in here. When you turn the machine off, the few vibrations it makes when you turn the machine off actually rattles this just a little bit, and it's hilarious. It makes it seem like the machine there might be something wrong with it, but it just rattles when you turn it off. If I take this out, then the rattle goes away. So kind of freaked me out when I first was refurbing the machine. I figured out it was that turbo brush that was rattling.
Butterfingers. All right. Oh, you can hear that. This one's got more activation.
Yeah, it's got a little bit. Mix it up.
Put down one touch. Oh, it's digging. If I had to compare them, this one to that one, essentially the same, pushing, pulling. This one definitely I can feel has more agitation. That one is more like that one would be better for like delicate carpets. This one would be better for you got sandy, gritty dirt, or you want something a little bit more expensive, perhaps.
Another $20.
Yeah.
On sale.
This one would be, if you could afford this one, which they don't make these no more, but this is a good choice. I would go with this one comfortably.
I think he just likes it more because it's red. I think that's what it is.
Actually, my favorite color is blue.
Blue. Okay, well,
Yeah.
blows that out of the water. Oh, you know what? We need to do one more test with your Elite. We need to do the brush roll speed test.
Oh,
I knew there was something else. Okay, so let's set that up and do the brush roll speed test. All right, once again, it's going to get loud, obviously. All right around 4650, just a little bit more than 4650. So I'm going to rate that actually as, say, medium high, definitely higher than average, but it's not anything like in the 6, 7, or 8,000 RPM range. So just medium high. And I think, considering this machine's age, way back then it would have been considered maybe a little higher than medium high. It would have been on the high range in the 90s. Hey, it's finally time to go and measure the Bissell Clean View. So let's see what it does. We're going to start out with all the filters in. Brush roll is always on because we can't turn it off. And here we go. Really something.
What's the amp What was the amp full? What was
10 point something or other. Yeah, it was not pulling. It wasn't even pulling 11 amps. Of course, it's not on the carpet. So when you put it on the carpet, it'll go up. I am very surprised with that. So bagless wise, I think we have a new winner.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I'll have to go check my database.
Unless I would have to get another Hoover High Performance and put it on that wooden airflow box. That'd be the only other way. But so far, that is gangbusters for a bagless machine.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Dyson can go. Dyson, you can just.
Yeah, that's
James Dyson, you should watch this video and start crying. I'll collect your tissues when you're done.
And this machine was how much?
Only $89.
Wow. Okay, so let's now take the filters out.
You could probably even take that cyclone out even too, if you want to just do.
Well, I think when people would normally, I'm gonna say normally want a cyclone. I think people would normally want everything in. They're not gonna want to run things with anything out.
We'll go ahead and take it out though, just to make it even more fun.
Okay, so obviously we have the HEPA filter out, and we have the little sponge thing out that we recently just blew out. So both of them are out. What is this going to do? It's really amazing. Wow,
that's not that much at all.
Wow. 81. It's hitting 81. 10.8 amps.
That's awesome. Those filters aren't wrong in that much CSM.
That's amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe that. All right, I think we've peaked out.
That's just
So here's the little HEPA filter here, and then here's this little sponge top filter, and with that out, we're at almost 82. So we have a new record breaker.
I'm joining the camera. Folks.
Okay, so Thomas wants to take the cyclone out. Okay, so here's the cyclone assembly. Put that back there.
It essentially has no.
Yeah, so
cyclone,
it's just that's straight in to straight out, pretty much.
Try not to.
Yeah, does that click?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. Now here's obviously the completely ridiculous. No filters, no cyclone. All right.
Air straight in, air straight out.
Pretty much. Almost 11 amps. Almost.
Probably when it gets those markets, you kind of get that to the almost,
Yeah, it would. So obviously, don't run your machine like this. You'll kill it real quick. But 86 CFM running essentially like say naked, for example. But I couldn't believe the all filters in CFM. That's amazing.
75.
Yeah, and 12 amps. It'll probably hit that when you run it on a carpet like this, for example. And it's got a little resistance from the motor. But right here, static, say around 11 amps. That is. I'm just in shock. Just like running the Rainbow single speed. I was totally in shock with the CFM with that single speed.
The Rainbow E2 one speed, my red Hoover High Performance 3, and this have been the machine, and of course the Hot Rod Electrolux. Those four machines have made you jaw drop.
Drool? Drool?
Something. I can't speak. I'm Porky the Pig, y'all.
Yeah. Here you go. And now for the last test, at least for a little while, on this Bissell Clean View, the suction, all filters are in. Ooh, 24. All right, I have to review the footage, but I thought I saw about 24. So that's a little on the low side, but you know what? I think Bissell has figured out, you know what? We don't want 50 or 60 inches of lift. We'll take, 20 some odd inches of lift, but we're going to give you a lot more CFM. That's a really interesting trade-off. I can't wait to see how well this machine will do on all the rest of my tests. So time to close out mini meet number 20. Obviously we've had some nice surprising results with this guy right here, so stay tuned for a lot more tests. And
it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's nice to be able to start to get back together again in small groups, I suppose. No large groups. If you're still like in lockdown, California, for example, or Chicago or New York City, feel for you. My wife's from New York City, and I lived in LA for a number of years. So out here in like the Midwest, less population density, we don't have the same type of virus spread, and we're not under the same type of rules. So we wish you all the best.
Well, there's not as many people around, so obviously germs can't spread as easy.
Yeah, population density is a lot different.
And not only that, like when you have people like in these groups, we're not. There's not as many germs around here. More people, more germs. Less people, less germs.
Mm-hmm.
My mom works in a hospital, and she's around germs every day. She brings them into my house, and I'm exposed to probably everything under the sun.
That could be scary. Can you imagine that? Having a hospital worker come home to somebody who isn't normally in a hospital? I mean, what kind of exposure could you have? So we wish the frontline workers well, the first responders. And until next time, Sayonara from the lab.
Happy vacuuming.
Happy vacuuming.